Now, I want to give a big shout out to David Peterson for being able to hold the fourth down, man. Coming into the game, having a great outing, right? Letting his fastball placement, being able to set up his all speeds. He did an absolute phenomenal job in being able to keep those Pittsburgh Pirates hitters off balance. Now, there was consistent traffic flow, and I don't want to move on from this point, right? Because we do have to talk about the first base and third base defense, because it looks like we're a little shaky to start the season, but I do believe that will get better in time. But what David Peterson and the bullpen were able to do yesterday, it was exactly what we wanted from the Mets last season. And David Peterson, once again, had a great outing, and he's picking up from where he left off last year. Now, last year, we did go into a little bit of a rut at the end of the season, but I do believe that was because that was the first time that David Peterson had went that long to the season during the max amount of innings that he was, and he ran out of gas late. And listen, it happens in baseball. It is what it is. But he started off, once again, looking back to that form that he was prior to the All-Star break, in which he was an All-Star last season. So I was very happy with how he threw yesterday. And most importantly, the pitch selection, the pitch placement, and not giving the Pirates anything easy to hit. Now, the Pirates did have some gritty at-bats against the Mets. I'm not going to contest that. They had an absolute phenomenal game. Listen, if they would have been able to get the big hit with runners on, because their thing wasn't about getting runners on, it was mainly getting the clutch hit. They weren't able to get it yesterday. Now, David Peterson did only go 5 in the third, and he did have runners on when he left the game. But you got to give a big shout out to Brazelbaum, who at this point in his career, 36 years old, has looked to finally have all of that talent that we've known him to have, because he throws really, really hard. He has a lot of movement on his pitches. So in my opinion, that's what I call electric stuff. When you have that much bite on your fastball, sometimes being able to command, right, a sinker is very difficult, because man, you don't know where the run is going to go, and it's hard to control that. But now when you factor that in with his all speed, now being able to spot both pitches, Brazelbaum, in my opinion, this year is going to have a great season. He's going to pick up right from where he left off last year, and we saw how he performed in the WBC. So you got to give a big shout out to Brazelbaum. Devin Williams, most importantly, man. Listen, man, I was very hard on that signing, specifically because you notice when you come into the New York market, you either got it or you don't. And when you come to the New York Yankees, like he did last season, and he didn't have a great year, following up the year in Milwaukee where he was the best closer in the game. And yes, Pete Alonso did hit the walk-off home run, which I believe played a role in his psyche and his ability to close out games and being that dominant closer. Last year, I saw a trajectory with him in which he didn't have his fastball. When he was with Milwaukee, he was throwing upper 90s with a changeup that was in the 83, 85 range. When you're talking about speed differential, it's a lot different when you're throwing 90, 99 and throwing an 83, 84 mile an hour changeup, because you're looking at a minus 16, minus 15 on a speed differential. And last year, he had lost his fastball. He was sitting at 93, 94, and sometimes 92, 91.